Thank you, Mr Gray. I would next call Stephen Kerr, also making his first speech in our Parliament today, and he will be followed by Stuart McMillan. Mr Kerr.
Thank you, Deputy Presiding Officer, and congratulations on your debut in the chair, and congratulations to Neil Gray, who I look forward to renewing our debates again in this Parliament. It is a real privilege to be able to stand and speak in my first debate as a member of the Scottish Parliament. I'm honoured to represent Central Scotland. However, Deputy Presiding Officer, this is not the first time that I have spoken in the Scottish Parliament. On May the 2nd, 2001, representing my church, I offered time for reflection. The 2001 census had just taken place, and I spoke about the preciousness of every living person and the loving ties that bind us together as the family of humanity. And on that occasion, I offered a prayer, asking God to bless our dear land with healing, love and unity. And I also prayed for those who sit in Scotland's Parliament, that they may be filled with the spirit of fairness, understanding and wisdom. Now, those words from 20 years ago pretty much sum up how I feel today, making my first speech in this Parliament. Scotland's people stand in need of healing, love and unity. And we, the parliamentarians of the 6th session of the Scottish Parliament, stand in need of an endowment of the spirit of fairness, understanding and wisdom. I said in my maiden speech in Scotland's other Parliament that I believe that we have a duty as parliamentarians to personify civility. And although we will disagree with one another from time to time, we ought not to be disagreeable. Presiding Officer. Presiding Officer, members of the Scottish Parliament have a solemn duty to hold the Scottish Government to account. And in the spirit of that duty, I have several questions to ask the Cabinet Secretary, who will reply to this debate. The vaccines are a modern-day miracle, a miracle of science. I had my second vaccination on Monday this week, and I'm very grateful for it. We have known from the very beginning of the vaccine rollout that we were in a race against this deadly virus. And everything which can be done must be done at speed to get vaccines into arms. Yet, the Cabinet Secretary for Health was reported earlier this week as saying, "I think there is room in the coming weeks to increase the number of vaccines that we are administering every day, every week." Will the Cabinet Secretary explain to Parliament why the vaccine rollout was not being, and I'll use his word, maximised already? What was being held back? What is he going to do now that should have been done weeks ago to maximise the rollout? The Cabinet Secretary was asked about how long it will take to get the performance of the NHS in Scotland back to pre-pandemic levels. And he replied, "Look, I won't lie to you. It's going to take years." And I accept the Cabinet Secretary's words at face value. He says the recovery of our NHS services in Scotland is going to take years. He also says he's going to put political differences aside to focus a national effort on the remobilisation and recovery of the NHS. Well, Presiding Officer, we will judge the Cabinet Secretary by his own words. Will he really, in his own words, put aside political differences, set aside his party's constitutional obsessions, such as we heard again yesterday from the First Minister when she made her statement? Will he and will this government genuinely put the national interest first? Because it's going to take years for the NHS to recover. And when such a crucial matter as the recovery of NHS services in Scotland is still in the balance, we must work together rather than be pulled apart. We are winning the war against this virus, at least in our own little corner of the world, thanks to the vaccines and the far-sightedness of the UK government in procuring the quantities of the vaccines they did. I would say to the Chamber that I believe that the time has come for us to reassess how we measure the impact of this virus, so that we can begin to fully restore our freedoms and our way of life. When we started down this path over a year ago, it was to prevent the NHS from being overwhelmed. Let's get back to measuring our actions against that objective. Presiding Officer, I hope that the SNP Scottish Government will be serious about working cooperatively to tackle the serious challenges that lie ahead of us. I hope that they will set aside their default ideological positions and work together with the British Government in order to tackle these serious challenges. In survey after survey, the people of Scotland want their two governments to work together now as never before. And the question is, are the SNP Scottish Government listening to the people of Scotland?